Hey guys, gonna talk about FEMY here. I didn't do a video yesterday. I have to redo. I have to do it today. So, I want to talk about this play. Very interesting. FEMY, pretty much a sympathy to Arnaz. Arnaz, sub penny name, made a big news, made a big move. Up halt squeezed, going insane. FEMY, in the after hours starts making a similar move, and then in the pre-market starts showing a lot of strength. So now, what does that mean? Means retail is going to see what happened in RNAS. They're going to think same thing's going to happen with FEMY. I don't know if it's called FEMY, by the way, but FEMY. And this is something you see in 2022 and 2023 a lot, where you have a big crazy move, usually in a strong cycle, and then that exact same move gets repeated the next day on a very similar ticker. It could be a similar price point, similar gap up, similar volume, and it almost never acts the same way. So here in the pre-market, I was like, hey, I saw FEMY make a push here, and I was like, people are going to play this like RNAs. If it starts getting up halty, if it starts up halting at market open, people are going to think it's going to do the same thing RNAs did. But the second pump is always weaker than the first, and the third pump's always weaker. Third pump was Pixie, by the way, which was the weakest of them all. And my daughter's right next to me. And yeah, that's your glove. And then so I went into this, I was like, man, also this kind of fits my 9 a.m. pop. A lot of times 9 a.m. pops for market open or super weak. Um, and this is me kind of explaining what I just explained to you in a strong cycle. I'm going to talk about my execution charts. Everyone's been asking me about execution charts. Here's one. Here's some more execution charts. All right. So here's my FEMY, but we'll go over it in a little bit. I want to talk about the price action. So what happens? We get an up halt, right? And I'm like, man, people are gonna think this is gonna be just like RNAS. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they don't even break high day, which is 1.5 in the pre-market, and dump it right away. So what happens? It unhalts. I start reading the tape. I just look at the ask. I'm just staring at the ask. I'm like, if I just see stalling, hidden sellers, I'll slap it, right? And then what happens? It unhalts. It pushes a tiny bit, pulls back. 140 hidden seller, massive, massive hidden seller. Short. It goes into a downhole, and I'm like, perfect thesis. We see this all the time. Something crazy happens the day before. Retail thinks same thing's going to happen. It dumps in their face, right? It's a very big risk reward short, right? And a lot of shorts are afraid to hit this because they, how many shorts got burned on RNAs in the morning, right? So that's why I shorted here. Here's my entry. Zoom in. Here's my entry out of the unhalt, and here's me covering at the 1 minute 200, but I'm like playing for a big move. I'm like, hey, this thing's super extended. FEMY is a god awful stock. Tons of dilution, tons of paper. I think it's going to fade like 80 cents, right? So, but my entry was so good, all the way at the 1 minute 200, or already up like 20%. So, as I mentioned on my Twitter, aggressive push off a of deep support. I never think these are going to have follow through. I never think this is going to have follow through. So, none of this surprised me. None of this surprised me. But then I see the higher lows. I'm like, great. They're just going to paint these higher lows and they're just going to pull it. It's going to be real simple, real easy. But that didn't happen. It just grinded and grinded and grinded and grinded. And once in a while, you'll get a play that just holds its higher lows and squeezes shorts. It doesn't happen often, but go look at UCAR on June 2nd. Go look at LHDX back when it did its crazy move in the 140s. Sometimes, like, go VFS, the day hit $93, it did the same thing, where it just holds a lower trend line. And you think it's a bid prop, you think all these longs are going to get stopped out, and they just squeeze. So it's grinding, and then it pulls back here, and I'm like, if this is a bid prop, this has to crack really hard, preferably right here. And since it didn't, I was like, if I see soaking on the tape, if I see soaking on the 5 minute 9 and VWAP here, I'm going to take a little bit off. So I took a little bit, back to my chart, took a little bit off, right here, right? Took a little bit off, and I'm like, all right, well, from a manipulation standpoint, what are they going to do? I'm like, oh, there's like this 135 lower high. Maybe they're just gonna like target that level. I'm thinking maybe they don't even target this. It's like maybe this is just a very controlled move, and then I see the aggressiveness of this push, and I see it break 135, and I see it reject. So I was like, man, maybe they're just walking it up. They're gonna fake people out and pull it. So you know, a lot of shorts. If you see my entries, I really don't pyramid or add, which can um, probably reduces my profits on some plays by a lot. But at the same time, on very rigged tickers and very strong tickers, I'm mostly looking for entries that I either think are just clear outs or long entries at the top. Um, Long traps at the top that I want to get in on. That way I have a tight risk. All my sizes up there. Um, and then also while it's fading, I'm just, if the play works, I'm continuously in the money. I'm not too worried about it. Um, but what happens, it seems to work, soaks on the 1 minute 20, pops, and I go, this. When I saw this pop, I'm like, that is not good. Like, that is not, this is the exact opposite of what I want to see. So I was like, all right, I'll just move. At that point, my average was like 139. I was like, I'll just move it. I'll just move my average to around 140 because I figured if this was gonna push out of this lower high, and this like, I just thought the squeeze would happen. So I just put my stop loss at 140s. Got stopped out. Actually made a little bit of money because of my covers down here. Covers down here. Got stopped out. And then they did an up halt at 148. Faked up halt. Moved up halt to 153, which was above the high day level. Faked that up halt and started to pull it. And I just insta shorted. Um, I had a 141 average. And then that seemed to work. I was like, okay, cool, cool. And then I noticed the lower trend line was holding again. I was like, man, I think they're just gonna fake people out with this trend line. They're trying to hold, man. I seriously think they're gonna pull it. But I'll take like 20% cover. I'll hold for the deep $1 fade and that type of thing. And then I saw this aggressive push, and I thought this was my aggressive push long trap. I thought I was about to big brain this short right here, and this is where I gave back all my money. They had a big push into the 140s. I started at 143. I added at 147. And right here, high day is 153. And I saw this, and I saw this. I saw this failed rotation, and I saw the heaviness come in on the tape, and I just put the rest of my size here, shorted a little bit on the pop, a little bit here, and then I was just risking 152. I was like, I'll just put my risk at 152. My average was like 144, 145, and then I saw this pullback, and I was like, the 1 minute 20 has to go. I didn't take a screenshot of the chat. I was like, this has to crack, and it can't come back up. This has to go straight down. Didn't do it. Got squeezed. Gave back most of my profits because I wasn't really taking massive profits down here. So I ended up just being a little red on the day on it, or around break even. It wasn't actually that big of a deal. Just the thesis didn't work out. But you'll see this is classic strong market manip. There's so many things that only happen on stronger tickers and stronger markets, but you could see the thesis building, right? If some like RNAS thing happens the day before and something similar is happening today, you could expect it's going to fake people out, and it did fake people out, and it was initially weak, just didn't have to follow through. I was expecting Pixie, third pump in a row, did have that weakness, and that was a huge winner. But I'll do another video on that. Other charts. I'll show you some easy ones. What were the easy ones? DMK was interesting. DMK was interesting because, again, I thought this push right here. Can I zoom in? Can you even see this? No, it's not showing on. It's not showing on your screen. Oh wait, because that's the wrong one. Oh, SCSS. This is the third time I mentioned this in a video. These pre-market pops that happen all in like 1 or 2 candles, they either top out right away or you get one little high day clear out. I wasn't quick enough to see this pop. It pulled back. I was like, well, I hope it goes back up. Went back up, cleared out a high day, rejected it, I shorted it. These are the easy ones. These quick 1 candle, 2 candle, 3 candle pre-market pops. They just top out and they go down, right? It's just brain dead. These are the really easy ones. DMK. I thought this was a long trap. There was an aggressive push off the 1 minute 20 here. Somebody put like 50, 80, 60,000 shares on the ASCII at 135. I shorted 134. It stalled, it stalled, it stalled, it stalled, it stalled. It broke out of that 135 ask, and I took a loss. But then this candle, very interesting. If you remember BJD or not, if you remember, um, what was that play? BPTS. We had that BPTS play a few days ago where it had that deep VWAP swipe in the reclaim on big volume. Any retail long thinks if this type of candle happens right here, this type of candle happens where it deep swipe support and you get a million shares of buying straight up, what are they going to think? They're going to think it's going to go to highs. Well, I thought it was kind of this painted 129 level. I thought it was going to swipe 129, push 130s, and then just pull back. But then what I'm doing, I'm just watching tape, and I noticed right away on the top of this candle, it starts to stall, and it starts to stall. And I'm like, okay, let me just see. There's like this 120 level it's holding. It breaks out of that 120 level, pulls back, insta short it. I'm just gonna bet this big SO candle is just, a retail long trap. People think, same thing that BPTS did, massive squeeze and push. There's a hidden seller. The tape slows down. The volume gets really weak. You short it. I was literally risking the top of this 124 candle. I'm just going to assume they're not even going to push this anymore. And if they do push it, I'll keep an eye on this 129 and this 130s level, and maybe I'll make a different trade. But luckily, it just rolled over and it died, and it was very easy. So this is what I would call a very rare situation. So those are those trades. People have been asking about the Discord. I'll show you a little preview. In Discord, I have it separated on the side here. Here's some short patterns, stuff I covered in videos, some stuff I haven't covered in videos. Move this over here a little bit. And this is stuff. These are the same notes I take in my own files. I'm just kind of transferring them over to a Discord. And yeah, here's a fake 5-minute flag trap. Here's the MAs. Here's the pattern. Painted backside. You get these aggressive pushes off a backside. Here is AXLA doing one. That ended up fading to 50 cents. Just here's Sympathy next day, right? Here's RNAS talking about this video. Here's an RNAS squeeze you can see over here. Here's FEMY, and then here's Pixie today, right? I don't know why it's not showing you the whole thing. There we go. Sorry about that. So first big pump, second pump, third pump, right? We saw this AHI back on June 21st, first pump. Pixie, also Pixie, second pump. This was a big brain short. I remember shorting this at about 310. Faded 45%. Pattern replication, made a video about this. Here's AVGR. AH squeeze, fake the AH squeeze. Now it's trading at $7. Too bad shares were so expensive. Swinging it would have been probably impossible. And then yeah, so here's a bunch of long patterns that are essentially just short traps that go back up. Haven't made any videos about any of these except for me talking about fake VWAP resistance, BJDX squeeze, NEPT squeeze. Then again, didn't squeeze very high, but the concept is the same. And yeah, and a bunch of stuff that I talked about on my Twitter before. So yeah, there we go. Put in my charts. I used to do this on Twitter. I haven't done it in a long time. Little annotated charts about trades I've done. Here's RNAS. Long trap, reclaimed, shorted the second long trap, or I should say the backside clear out, and into the offering. There you go, into the offering. And yeah, sometimes I win, sometimes I lose, sometimes. And I only done a few of these because these are kind of in my own. They're not. I don't have these pictures saved on my computer. I kind of take notes in an Excel file, and I have my own process for how I record my trades. This is something I'm doing for the Discord, do it for people to learn. But yeah, some cool stuff. So that's what I've been working on. It's not open yet. But yeah, so I'll let you guys know more information about that. Just wanted to talk about the main plays yesterday, mostly FEMY, and hope that was informative. I'll try to make a Pixie video soon, and yeah, you guys have a good one.